Yeah, so Blake Lively is apparently, allegedly regretting her legal war against Justin Baldoni. Yeah, are we too connected? Are we too vibing? That's how she described working with Justin Baldoni.
Honey, Blake Lively is completely losing her mind after a judge just dropped another bombshell piece of evidence straight onto her case. And baby, it wrecked whatever tiny hope she had left. See, while Blake was busy fangirling over Justin Baldoni like a lovesick teenager, he, being the respectful king that he is, politely shut her down. But did Blake handle it gracefully? Oh no. She threw a full-on tantrum, swearing revenge like a toddler denied ice cream.
Blake, no receipts Lively, has no receipts.
Blake really thought 2025 was going to be her "I'm a strong woman taking down the evil ex-boss" era. Instead, it's turning into her "please somebody hide my public recordings" nightmare. Sis, the moment she opened her mouth in front of a whole room, with cameras rolling mind you, and described working with Baldoni as too connected and too vibey, it was game over. Yes, girl, those were her exact words. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, are we too connected? Are we too vibing? That's how she described working with Justin Baldoni in June 2024.
Apparently, the English language packed up and left the building that day because what even was that? If you're being harassed, you don't usually say you're vibing with your harasser, Blake. Unless, of course, you're living in some twisted Hollywood fantasy land, which, judging by her meltdown, she absolutely is. And speaking of people living in alternate realities, let's chat about America Ferrera. You know, Blake's so-called ride or die friend? Yeah, she was all about supporting Blake until she wasn't.
I reported on America Ferrera that she had removed a post from her Instagram grid, the one where she was supporting Blake Lively.
America did a full-on oops wrong group chat move. She posted a public show of support for Blake and then yanked it down faster than you can say career suicide. Girl, it was pathetic. And let's be real, America looked about as spineless as a wet spaghetti noodle.
It is back. So I don't know what that says about America Ferrera, if she's now supporting Blake again, if it was a mistake. So I don't know what happened there, if America Ferrera got cold feet and thought, oh, Blake is gonna come after me, so I better put that post back up.
She didn't even bother with a follow-up post. Like, sis, if you're going to fake support, at least pretend you care. But nope, America dipped out like someone realizing they accidentally RSVP'd to a sinking ship party. Zero effort, zero loyalty, zero backbone.
I don't know. I just find it kind of spineless when you support someone publicly and then you remove the support because you get a lot of backlash from it, and then you kind of sneak it back in again. I don't know.
And honey, just when you think this circus couldn't get any more cursed, Harvey Weinstein, yes, that Harvey Weinstein, decided to make a grand, unwelcome entrance into the mess. Because clearly, when you're fighting for your reputation, the absolute last person you want popping up to support you is a convicted predator who turned Hollywood into a radioactive wasteland. Make it make sense.
Harvey Weinstein came out and said that and showed support for Baldoni, saying that, you know, you and me, we were treated the same way by New York Times. It's like, no, you weren't. Harvey Weinstein was accused by, I think, like 50 to 100 women. It was so many women, and it was so serious, like really horrific.
In a move so tone-deaf it could shatter glass, Harvey actually compared his own takedown to Justin Baldoni's situation. He said he could relate to Baldoni's legal fight. Baby, if Harvey Weinstein thinks you're the real victim, pack it up. That's not just a PR disaster, that's a full-blown social apocalypse.
Harvey Weinstein was accused by, I think, like 50 to 100 women. It was so many women, and it was so serious, like really horrific incidents that he was accused of.
Meanwhile, the court documents? Girl, they dragged Blake's dignity through the mud and left it there for pigeons to pick apart. Her evidence wasn't just flimsy, it was downright embarrassing. And to make it worse, recordings Blake apparently forgot even existed exposed her harder than a celebrity cheating scandal. Sis showed up to a gunfight wielding a sword made of Play-Doh.
With Blake Lively, Brendan Sklenar, and Colleen Hoover when they had a screening This was in June 14th, so last summer, when they were showing It Ends With Us, a cut that wasn't even ready and that Sony hadn't greenlit or anything like that.
And get this, people didn't just hear about her gushing over Baldoni, they saw it. June 14th, 2024, during the It Ends With Us event, Blake wasn't choking back tears, boo-hooing about trauma. She was glowing, practically floating, ranting about how amazing Baldoni was. She didn't just vibe, honey. She was living for the vibes. She was out there grinning wide enough to make Colleen Hoover's hairline recede.
But then she said something really interesting.
She's conflicted. Totally. And so that was always an interesting dynamic when you have somebody who's playing the character also being the one like looking at the movie. So we were always like, are we too connected? Are we too vibing?
Yeah, are we too connected? Are we too vibing?
There wasn't a single moment of awkwardness, no scared looks, no stiff body language, nothing that even hinted at distress. Blake wasn't surviving, she was thriving. Sis was out here broadcasting to the world how much fun she was having. Honestly, it looked less like a harassment story and more like an audition tape for a Netflix rom-com. If your own footage looks like a Best Friends Forever trailer, maybe don't try to spin it into "Help, I'm a victim" later on. The delusion is wild.
Was Blake Lively talking about Justin Baldoni? She didn't mention him by name, but what she said does not sound like someone who's been harassed by someone.
And America Ferrera? Oh, sweet America. She gave us the silent mic drop of the year. First, she quietly deleted her support post when the backlash started heating up. Then, like a guilty child sneaking back cookies, she snuck the post back up without a single word of explanation. And then, total radio silence. No, I stand by my friend, follow up. No, we're in this together speech. Girl, she dipped like someone realizing staying would tank their whole career, because guess what? It would have.
I don't know. She hasn't posted anything else on her Instagram since last time she had removed it. So it's not like it's been pushed in any direction, like a technical glitch, or I don't know how that could have happened.
And of course, the internet caught America's fake support stunt in record time. Like, Blake really thought she could play the people? Sis, this is the internet. They catch mess-ups faster than TikTok trends. And Blake's desperate rearranging of the narrative? It was like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Meanwhile, the ship was already halfway under. Honestly, it was almost beautiful in a tragic Greek mythology way. The more Blake tried to force her narrative, the faster it exploded in her face. Pure comedy gold. Baby, it just got even messier. Blake went from fangirling over Baldoni on stage to screaming harassment 6 months later. Meanwhile, America Ferrera tried to ghost her like a bad Tinder match. And then, Harvey Weinstein showed up, looking like a demonic Easter bunny handing out cursed chocolate eggs. If Blake's goal was to make sure no one in Hollywood took her seriously anymore, mission accomplished, queen. And here's the sick twist. If Baldoni somehow, by some miracle, wins this case against the New York Times, Harvey Weinstein's whole disgusting history might end up dragged back into the spotlight too. Talk about cursed karma. Honestly, it's almost like Blake triggered a whole chain reaction of bad PR just by stepping into court. But wait, it gets even worse. Despite everything, the bad optics, the humiliating public footage, the crumbling friendships, Blake still thought storming into court with her so-called evidence would save the day. Like some movie plot twist where everyone just forgets she basically called Baldoni her artistic soulmate on national TV. Girl, no, this isn't a movie. It's a full-blown public implosion, and Blake is handing out front-row tickets to her own downfall. Meanwhile, over in Clowntown, Harvey Weinstein decided to bless Blake's case with his unwanted commentary. He actually released a statement saying that seeing Justin Baldoni go after the New York Times hit him hard. As if anyone was sitting around thinking, you know who really needs to weigh in? Harvey Weinstein. Absolutely not. Harvey's statement was honestly the kind of PR nightmare fuel you can't even make up. He said, and I kid you not, watching Justin Baldoni fight the New York Times brought back everything he experienced when the Times exposed him back in 2017. Like, excuse me, Harvey, you're comparing a romance movie director's lawsuit to being exposed by over 100 women? Real casual comparison there, buddy. He whined about how he didn't fight back in 2017, As if anyone was sitting at home thinking, you know who deserves justice? Harvey Weinstein. Absolutely not. And yet, here he was, dragging his greasy reputation back into the public conversation, blessing Blake's disaster case with his nasty endorsement. Honestly, Harvey siding with you is like Satan writing you a reference letter. Pack it up, Blake. He kept rambling. It still haunts me. I'll be watching this case closely. Sir, the only thing haunting us is the fact that you think your opinion is welcome anywhere. If Harvey Weinstein thinks you're the victim, you officially lost. Game over. Meanwhile, back under the big top of this three-ring circus, Blake and Ryan Reynolds thought they could out-PR their problems. Spoiler alert, they could not. First, Ryan was accidentally papped at JFK Airport, looking oh so sad and stressed, with just the right lighting, just the right angle. You know, because nothing screams genuine emotion like a perfectly timed, perfectly lit, perfectly miserable paparazzi photo. And Blake? Blake was out here playing the world's saddest little actress, parading around NYC with a rotation of cardigans, messy buns, and Instagram-filtered grief cosplay. Yes, cosplay. Because, honey, it was all staged. Sad Blake. Pensive Blake. Blake caught mid-sigh like she was auditioning for Les Miserables. But here's the real gag. While she was pulling her sad face for the paps, random strangers in the background were literally laughing, while Blake tried to sell her tragic heroine narrative. It didn't look like authentic pain. It looked like Comic-Con for canceled celebrities trying to stay relevant. Real PR experts immediately clocked it. This wasn't sadness. It was strategy, and a bad one at that. It crashed harder than Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie, and that's saying something. And baby, Blake couldn't just quietly fade away. Oh no. She decided to double down and accuse a PR strategist, Jed Wallace, of masterminding some huge social media conspiracy against her. Because of course, when in doubt, scream conspiracy. The problem? Blake had zero proof. Not a screenshot, not an email, not even a badly photoshopped Reddit post. Nothing. Pure Hollywood fantasy. Jed Wallace wasn't having it either. He filed court documents under penalty of perjury, basically saying, I didn't post, like, comment, sneeze, or even breathe in Blake's direction. He swore up and down that no social combat plan even existed. And the timeline? Baby, it destroyed Blake's whole theory. Blake's legal team, bless their hearts, actually filed a 141-page complaint trying to back up her fantasy. 141 pages. You would think with that much paper, there'd be at least one solid piece of evidence, right? Wrong. It was 141 pages of pure Hollywood make-believe. Nothing but information and belief allegations with zero facts to back them up. Sis wrote a whole novel and forgot the plot. Meanwhile, Jed Wallace and his company, Street Relations, they barely got a mention in Blake's giant complaint. Like, if this was a movie script, critics would say the side characters were so underdeveloped they made Marvel background extras look like Shakespearean leads. Oh, and just to add insult to injury, Blake's team accidentally spilled Jed Wallace's private health information in the filings. Because why just lose a court case when you can also commit a huge privacy violation at the same time? Honestly, calling Blake's entire lawsuit Hollywood fiction is generous. It read less like a legal document and more like a rejected Hallmark Christmas movie, except instead of small-town girl falls for a grumpy lawyer, it was Hollywood starlet sues a PR guy who didn't even know he was fighting her. And just when you thought it couldn't possibly get worse for Blake, well, baby, buckle up.
They are going on the record stating that Jed Wallace and his company didn't direct or ask anyone to post anything about the same.
New evidence showed up swinging like a wrecking ball straight into Blake's already fragile case. Footage surfaced of Blake, yes, Blake herself, gushing about how connected and vibey she felt working with Justin Baldoni. You know, the same Baldoni she was now accusing of making her life a living hell. Nothing says I'm traumatized quite like a room full of people watching you giggle and swoon over your supposed oppressor. It was bad.
That doesn't sound like a person that has harassed her, that she's describing. Like, really?
The judge didn't even need to say much. He just sat there side-eyeing Blake's so-called evidence like, girl, is this a courtroom or an SNL skit? Because when your first piece of evidence is yourself looking absolutely thrilled to work with the guy you're suing, that's not a good day in court. That's a public roast session. And Blake was the main course. And Jed Wallace wasn't done either. He came through swinging again, dropping receipts like it was Black Friday at Walmart.
Because what did he do? What did he do?
Jed didn't just deny being involved in a so-called social media takedown. He proved he literally recommended doing nothing. Because get this, Baldoni was already getting organic support online. Nobody needed to fake anything. The internet was clowning Blake all by itself.
They didn't publish, directly or indirectly, any information or content, negative or otherwise, regarding Lively.
Blake didn't get sabotaged by some shady PR firm. She got wrecked by random teenagers on Reddit. She filed a fantasy lawsuit, got laughed out of court, and torched whatever credibility she had left. One shot, total obliteration. Between the fake sadness parade, Harvey Weinstein's cursed endorsement, and her A-list friends ghosting her faster than a bad first date, Blake's reputation didn't just crack, it vaporized. And baby, we're not done yet, because the grand finale, it's even juicier.
Ironic, given the fact that the Nepo baby fought so hard for an extra protective order in New York and that case because she was worried about her health information leaking.
Because here's the brutal truth. Nobody forced Blake to gush about Justin Baldoni in front of a live audience. Nobody held a gun to her head and made her accuse a random PR expert of crimes he had absolutely nothing to do with. Nobody told her to strut around in sad cardigans and call it activism. Every single wrong step was her own doing. This wasn't some tragic misunderstanding. It wasn't some evil media takedown. It wasn't a grand Hollywood conspiracy. This was Blake self-sabotaging with extra sprinkles on top. Her PR team probably quit halfway through and started betting against her in secret. Her lawyers probably aged a decade trying to explain basic courtroom reality to her. And the public? The public didn't just turn against Blake. They laughed her off the stage. Now Blake's walking into March 2025 with a shredded reputation, a court date looming like a storm cloud, and a long list of celebrity friends pretending they've never heard of her. Iconic behavior, truly. This upcoming trial? It's not going to be a dramatic Hollywood redemption arc. It's not going to be some triumphant victory montage. It's going to be a slow, painful, highly public train wreck. And best believe, everyone's gonna be watching. And no one will be looking away. Because sometimes, babe, the villain isn't the media. It's not the PR machines. It's not the ex-bosses, the trolls, or the tabloids. Sometimes the villain is just being Blake Lively. Blake's meltdown is pure entertainment at this point. So buckle up, smash that subscribe button, and get ready. Because trust me, this train wreck is just getting started.